Yeah.
That's right.
Isn't that just kidding?
Yeah. Yeah, about 30 seconds to spare. Now it's echoing. Okay.
Very
good.
20 seconds.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sure. This is well, I don't have a phone.
That's the beauty of the
I thought I would, yeah, I would, because you can't. Everybody's better off with it. The deal was, of course, they didn't want us to interfere in the use of their cross country track. Well, then they decided, oh, they want us to prove. All right, we'll call the meeting, please. The agenda meeting for our May meeting. What do you think?
It's fairly long.
Town manager.
It looks long.
Had a birthday yesterday?
I did, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate that. This looks longer, it looks intimidating, but it's really not. We're trying to close out some of the end of this fiscal year. That's why you're going to see the consent agenda larger than normal, but I'll go ahead and run through it. We'll have our customary welcome, pledge of allegiance, and prayer by Reverend Richard White with Christ Community Church. Any announcements? And we'll do a proclamation for a pro bono celebration day. That's what I've got. That's right. Citizen comments. We have no communications this month from staff or commissions or agencies. And our consent agenda, first being 5A, adoption of minutes, April 8th, 2021 agenda workshop, and April 12th, 2021 regular session meeting. Item 5B is a fire department donation budget amendment. This is throughout the year, the fire department has gotten some donations, and we just need to recognize those as such in the budget. So that's what this is for, pretty straightforward. Same thing for C, which is a Duke Energy grant budget amendment. This is recognizing $50,000 we received from Duke Energy to help fund the Veterans Park Swano River Restoration Project. Item 5D is the Police Department Revenue Budget Amendment. This is also just recognizing some revenue the Police Department has gotten throughout this fiscal year, so we can close up the end of this year on 6/30. Item 5E, Tomahawk Dam Repair Budget Amendment. What we are doing with this, we are going to be unable. Last year, we budgeted $120,000 to fix the leaking on the earthen dam there at the bottom of Lake Tomahawk. This is rolling this money into a capital project fund because we know we're not going to get done by the end of this year. So that way the money will carry over to next year. And I would anticipate that work has already started on paper, but actually moving dirt probably will be July or August when we're going to do that. Fire Department Special Revenue Fund Budget Amendment. This is something that we haven't done in the past. You know, we have Tammy on board now, and she is looking through some things, trying to get some things in order that will make it easier for us as we get audited and for us to keep records and keep money separate. This is a special revenue fund this is the money that comes in from the county for the East Buncombe Fire District tax. So the property tax will go into this as well as that sales tax from the East Buncombe District. Currently, right now, we just have that coming in as general fund revenue right now. And G, PAL bill budget amendment. This is, last year we budgeted some revenue, I think $225,000, but we forgot to include the expense of that in the actual budget. So it is one thing that we missed last year, and that's putting our budget together. So this is going to clear that up, and no big changes for that one. 5H is a call for public hearing for text amendments to comply with our Chapter 160D, which I think we have scheduled for a special call meeting here in the next few weeks. That will be for June 14th. That's when that public hearing will be. 5I is also a call for public hearing for our comprehensive plan, which we will also be having a special call meeting for this month. And that public hearing will be June 14th as well. 5J is a call for public hearing to close portion of unopened platted portion of right-of-way parallel between West College Street and Goldmont Street and Central Avenue. This would be the July meeting for the public hearing, July 12th. 5K is a call for public hearing to create our stormwater utility ordinance. This is going to be our next special call meeting next Thursday, where we're going to present to you all that information on the stormwater utility, the ordinance and the fund. And 5L is to create the stormwater utility fund. It's a call for public hearing for June 14th. So that would be, if the board does adopt this, that will roll into our upcoming 21-22 budget. 5M is a resolution to provide matching funds for the 9th Street bridge replacement. We have done this already in the past, but we need to do it again. I think the original amount that we had, that we'd gotten quotes on for that bridge replacement was a little bit less. After DOT took a look at it, they got actually another quote that was a little more expensive. I think our last resolution to provide those matching funds was about $120,000, so it's not that big of an increase. And 5N, lastly, nope, that's not right. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Is an approval for contract for audit services. This will be our 3rd year with this audit firm that we're going into coming up. And, you know, we typically keep the auditors for about 3 years and sometimes longer. It's completely up to the board if we go out for an RFP to get another auditing firm. I think these folks have done a fine job, but we just need to approve this contract for for our audit coming up. I think it's $22,500 is what they charge. 6, we'll have citizen comments again. 7, unfinished business, Riverwalk Greenway update. So I'm going to give you a little more information on this one on Monday night that we've been working through. I think Fred Grogan is going to be here as well to talk to the council, and we have got to get, not to give you too much information, but we voted to split these projects, but in order to make that happen as a TIP amendment, they have to have dollars associated with them. What that means for us is on the leg that we kind of are ready to start now, heading west, I think we've pretty much got, for the most part, costs for that already. The other part, we don't have costs for because we haven't really chosen a route for that other section. So that's going to be something that we need to figure out on what we're going to do on the northern portion, or I guess the eastern portion of this project.
And the idea was that we thought we could break it out this month. Are we going to be able to do that? They need, the PCC will need something in order to pass it.
Well, we can get them costs for the Carlos Showers leg, but the other leg, I can't get costs for until we decide what route we're going.
The monies that we have committed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we got like $6 million.
Right.
It's committed.
Right.
We have it.
Correct.
We spend the money and they reimburse.
That's right. So we have the original cost for all that.
Why can't we take the original cost and back out what we know?
We can try that.
Well, we're not going to get it moving forward. And maybe that's not that big a deal to wait a month.
Yeah.
But, we were going to try to get it through this month. That's the reason I reached out with the email, because when prioritization committee discussed it, we didn't need to we didn't do a motion or anything, because
right.
We didn't have it, but that was still enough. We were satisfied with Christmas.
For
prioritization. To move forward to TCC,
right.
Where they do need the detail, and MPO board needs the detail.
So what we're going to need for that detail, for the section that we've had trouble with, staff's going to need direction from council on, what we're going to do. I know that we've got issues with the railroad crossing at Hemphill that I've talked to you a little bit about, and we have issues with the landowners adjacent to Hemphill who will not respond to us via phone call or letter. You were going to send a letter. I'm not sure if you have.
I got it out late because I tried to reach out and find ways to mix and it's something you did directly. But the people that I knew that knew him no longer had any contact, so that wasted a little time there. The letter went out. They put the future.
Okay. So, this is kind of one of those sticking points. We're going to need to figure out. I can back that stuff out of that. That's fine. I just don't know how close we will be to an actual cost.
Well, why don't you just reach out to Tristan and see if that is sufficient?
Okay.
Because it seems to me you got the numbers approved.
Right.
And so if you have the whole file approved at one point in time, you see if we can approach it that way and that'll satisfy them, because it may be some time before we're able to nail down the cost on the other part.
All right.
Josh, is that last word have a meaning?
Originally, years ago, it was called Riverwalk Greenway Phase 2, but that just ran from, when it originally started, it ran from Olays down to number 9. And then the other leg was added, and I think it was still called Riverwalk Phase 2. And then we named it, after Mr. Showers passed away, we named, I guess, at least that section. I guess we could pick whichever section we wanted, but I don't know, we were real specific on which section because we weren't splitting it then, to name it the Carlos Showers Riverwalk Greenway. So to answer your question, I don't know that there is a specific name for the trouble spot now. Maybe we could just call it the trouble Greenway.
I think from a marketing point of view, But we're trying to do it good again, you know, to take a look at, we're working on,
Right.
so just throwing that out.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Kristen. Okay, 8A, new business. This is a conditioned financial contribution from Black Mountain Greenways Trail Committee. Not to get into too many details tonight, but this is something that they, in the past, they have raised some funds and they want to give it to the town in order for us to address an issue that they find to be probably one of the bigger issues, I guess, at least right now, minus building the greenway, but at least on an existing section. The section over at the bottom of the community garden holds water quite a bit, so that what they presented, and it's in your packet, I think it's around $20,000 or $25,000 to fix some of that drainage over there on that part of the greenway. 8B is Town Council Boards and Commissions Appointment Policy. So this was sent out to everybody a little bit early, so you could have time to take a look at it, and we are hopeful that you will have some suggestions for us. I think Pam already has a couple, and that's great. But this is kind of our first crack at one of these policies for appointing members to boards and commissions in the council.
Do you want those suggestions now or wait till Monday?
Monday.
Monday's a good time, but that's public hearing, when you get some input from it.
8C, Carver Center Playground Renovations. Erin Van Note, who's the executive director with Montessori School up at the Carver Center, she is going to be present to go over her request for renovation of the old playground that is behind the school. And really what she's requesting would be permission to do the changes, and then for us to provide some labor from staff to help with some of those changes. I didn't see a big issue with helping with labor costs. As long as the council feels that it's okay and in the best interest of the town, I think it'd be a benefit up there to do that project.
Is that playground open to the public, or is that?
It's open to the public.
So there's two there, there's one that's like anywhere.
Yeah, we did that one a few years ago. This is the other one. It's really dated. Kind of sits back in the hole there, and it's just a bunch of wood, wood structures, and they've got some drainage issues coming off the road, and there's a couple of things in there they want to see addressed.
I've noticed, because we go to that other, like that newer playground sometimes, that the old one is oftentimes locked, the gate's locked. Is that us that's locking, or is that the?
That must be them, but it should not be locked, so thanks for letting me know that. Item 8D is a personnel policy amendment. This is relatively straightforward. We are adding some language, and this is from, we are part of the North Carolina State Health Plan Blue Cross Blue Shield here in Black Mountain. There's not very many municipalities that are left on this insurance plan. We are going to be changing just because they're requiring us to do it. Currently, if you work for the town for 15 years and are at retirement, eligibility for retirement, the town will pay your insurance cost until you are 65, or 60, whatever that magic number is. Always 65. Okay. So you got to be at least here 15 years and then be eligible to retire. And that could be, I think if you can retire at age 50 if you've got 20 years in. But starting as of January 1st of this year, that benefit is no longer available to anybody hired after January 1st. So anybody that's hired before then, of course, their grandfather, but anybody going forward would not be offered that benefit. Item 8E is our planning board appointment. We had a little confusion. Savannah, I think straighten that out, but we've got four applications, excuse me, for the planning board vacancy. That was Mr. Jess Gardner resigned. I think he moved out of town, so he no longer on the planning board.
I have one thing about that.
Sure.
We did have one come in this morning, kind of last minute. It's been added to each of your packets, so make sure you take a look at that.
So we're gonna determine the process for filling that position under 8B, and then
That one is the same thing. In other words, I don't see how we can.
public input, and
We can wait on the policy, or we
give the policy a later effective date.
give the policy an effective date of the following week or whatnot.
How pressing is it, that new get Jesse this place.
That's a 7-member board, so they've got 6 instead of 7. I don't know that it's urgent.
Well, why don't we?
You want to push the board appointment to the next
Well, I mean,
month?
that would be a suggestion, the board has to want to do that, but, you know, it seems to me that, like, we'll take it off the agenda and get the policy in place and move forward with it. Just makes me,
I like that.
Yeah. say, no, I mean, and we have another appointment too, don't we, right? Besides the planning board?
No, we will have a bunch of appointments, in our June meeting to fill, the normal vacancies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just wait till then, do it all.
so we could do it all at once. Okay.
What if we do that? Is that good for the board? I entertain a motion that we push that off the agenda.
So moved.
Is that good? Is good? All those in favor, aye? So take the board appointments off.
Okay.
So then I just had a question about this one that says it's for recreation.
So I had contacted everyone that recently submitted an application to ask them if they would like to put their application forward for this particular vacancy. So these are people who had applied previously and not been appointed. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And then lastly, for your new business will be the fire department career ladder. So this is something that we've talked about, I know that for at least a few months. And this would be relatively, I think, inexpensive across the board. But as far as the current budget, you're looking at about $1,300, and then next year's budget would be $17,000 roughly. This is, in the fire department currently, there's just not a lot of availability for folks to move up. So what this career ladder would do would be to put in a new classification called driver operator that would raise, of course, that would raise the salary of someone that if they were internally firefighter 2, they would be applying for a driver operator and they would get an increase in salary. We don't have those specific people picked out as of yet because they'll have to go through a process to make sure that they meet the criteria that's in the job description, have the years of service in, things of that nature. But we would see everybody, at least in the department, moving up and this not having anybody else come in from outside the department. It would be interior moves. And then 9 is going to be your public hearings. We've got 4 of them. The first one being a public hearing for voluntary annexation for 201 and 207 Old Toll Road. And immediately following it would be the rezoning of that same property, 201 and 207 Old Toll Road, from R1 to UR8. Item 9C is a right-of-way closure, unopened platted portion of right-of-way parallel between West College and Goldmont Street. And then finally, D is a public hearing for text amendments to open space requirements in major subdivisions. This will be increasing the requirements in major subdivisions from 5% open space to 15% open space. And then
I have a quick question about E that I think might be good for us to answer now. But correct me if I'm wrong. We recently did one of these annexations and then rezoning. I think there was some confusion around what happens if we don't rezone to UR8? Is it like what zone would it automatically default?
It would automatically be anything including zone.
Okay, just fall back whatever the county has it as. Okay.
Well, if we
essentially you wouldn't have any
annex
of
it, we annex it, then the county doesn't apply anymore.
Right.
And you just got no zone off.
So okay. So really, we have to go.
That's the big plan, yeah.
yeah, you have to give it some type of designation.
Right.
Theoretically, you can leave it unzoned. Parts of McDowell County are zoned and some are not, and that adds more confusion than clarity. So it would be good to zone something.
Okay, thanks.
And then communication from Attorney Sneed and myself and the board, the council.
And I'm going to bring up one item that I learned on today and told the town manager and the mayor. I have friends in low places who discovered that a new director of the library system for the county, which operates our library, the building that we own and maintain. He has a plan, and whether this is a solid plan or not, I just want to get ahead of it before it fires in another direction. Closing down the Black Mountain Stormwell Library and consolidating them, and possibly at a third location. Don't know exactly what economic sense that makes for us providing free building and maintain and consolidate it. But I think more importantly, I think is the town and the townspeople may be interested in that. There's a possibility of losing the downtown library in walking distance for the population. I'm hoping I've made a public records request to the county already asking for any plan they have or a draft plan that's out there that would be available, and hopefully see if they can get that to me by Monday night to give you something more firm. But that is just the information I have today. And I told Ron that if he gets something very firm, and it is budget time, so, my guess is that's kind of how it got conjured up, I suspect. But if it's something very firm, that perhaps we will amend add an item to the agenda, and right after a consent agenda, let Ron present whatever he finds out. If he finds out anything definitive, let him present it, and perhaps we could, if the board wishes to do so, just pass a motion that we, will oppose such action. But again, just depends on what Ron comes up with, and then Savannah could notify the appropriate parties and send a copy of the motion that we have to do something, but just let everybody know that the town council is opposed, if indeed that's coming down the pipe. And also moving it to the front of the meeting, probably a better chance that the public might notice it as opposed to at the very end of the meeting. So sort of keep that in mind. It just depends on what Ron finds out.
I can provide a little more information about it, just because I've been real involved with the Black Mountain Library. I'm currently on the Buncombe County Library Trust Fund Board, so I see Jim very often, and got a lot of information locally about this. So I have a meeting with Jim on Tuesday at noon to get what's going on and what the heck is this. But as I understand it, it's part of a big overall plan for the library system in Buncombe County, which actually is part of a big Buncombe County plan for all their facilities. And he'll be presenting his whole plan to the Buncombe County Commission on May 18th. So the commissioners haven't approved this at all. It's the plan, right? And he is really into having hubs, library hubs, bigger facilities, and then so some smaller libraries on his plan are slated for closing, like us and Sawmill and Oakley. So that's what I know about it right now, but I did talk to her today, and so I need to come over and find out some more.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's too late for Monday night's meeting. I'm sorry about that, but the public needs to know, and we need to know what the timeline and what he wants to do, and what the county commission will have a lot to say about it. So our county commissioners need to be aware of what we think too.
Yeah, well, that's the reason I think that sounds like to me it is timely if we can get enough to where we can, get it. And maybe, Dan, if you could, kind of have a resolution, in order, just close enough to where we could, we could pass that if we're able to. That's a resolution kind of communicates a little bit better, I think. So how about pulling one together, and if Ron knows enough, he can reach out to you on Monday. If we don't know enough, we can. Well, it sounds like we need more than we thought. So there is a plan. And part of
If
that.
they have input sessions and public, about features the library building should have and so on. You know, they just opened the East Asheville Library last Saturday, I think, and it's a really updated one, and it's huge improvement over what they had before, but, I don't think they've actually gotten into the public input part of this yet in terms of what shut down libraries, you know, county commission needs to look at this before.
It has to be a budget issue for them, building new libraries, building new buildings.
That's something I have to talk to him about on
Yeah.
Tuesday, like what's that plan, you know? But there is a big part of the American Rescue Plan, aside from what municipalities get, is about just funding building libraries.
Well, so is that good for council for, you know, that we kind of have a resolution ready? You know, looks like take that up. So is that, well,
Off the top of my head, I think that's what I had, but I don't know if I'm comfortable making a resolution until I've heard his, I don't really know enough about his plan. Now, off the top of my head, the notion of closing that White Mountain Library is just upsets me like you can't believe, right? Like, no way. But I feel like we shouldn't be jumping the gun and making a resolution until we hear what he is proposing to do.
could I suggest that you've got these special call warning meetings, that you tack this on the agenda, one of those with plenty of notice time? I'll go ahead and bring it up at maybe not be possible just under communications. And then if she comes back and says that, you know, that there's enough, we can go for consider a resolution. Maybe add one of the morning meetings, because we have one a week all over the month. We're having one a week from today, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, but how about, if it's agreeable to everybody, just add it to that agenda, because it'd be good to get it to them before they get it. Yeah. So, and we can, if it doesn't come up, then we won't bring it up. Goes to the board.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll just bring whatever info I can, I'll share it with you. Great. So you can all have what I can.
Is that agreeable where everybody just put it on the agenda, then make a public notice and put it on the agenda for next Thursday morning? Because we can put it on the agenda, and if we don't, only get 48 hours notice. We don't have anything to talk about, we don't have to talk about it. It'll be given public notice. So that sounds good to everybody, we'll do that. Okay. And so we'll still talk about it. I'll just give the information as part of my communication. Okay. Where were we?
That's it. We're at,
Oh, that's right, we were done, you brought this up.
I will say this. I had a meeting today with the city of Asheville and Buncombe County regarding our transit bus, Route 170. City of Asheville, you know, for whatever reason, has paid the majority of that, I guess forever. But now they are wanting some financial assistance from the town and the county. And I had told them this was not the best time to ask since it's May and we're, you know, mainly through a lot of the budget stuff. So I'm hoping that they're going to be able to wait until fiscal year 23 for that. But it looks like our cost would be between Buncombe and us $100,000. But I have requested that Asheville give us, we need some ridership data. I'd like to know how many people are using that bus in town to make sure that we're being charged accordingly.
You know, you can get that from Kristen.
Because we already pay, you know, we pay for the Trailblazer for mountain mobility already, a portion of it.
Yeah. That came up in some discussion, so I'm not too surprised that they were. Anyway, some of it's understandable, I get it, but they're the ones that get the funds. So, you know, we don't get it now,
Right.
It goes to them.
That's
so
correct.
That's,
I told them, I think we're all for paying our fair share, and that's fine. We just need to see what that looks like.
That's right. But you might reach out to Kristen, and I'm trying to think, John, there's one of their staff people that does that. That's what they do, you know. And so you might get information quicker and faster from that people.
Okay.
Maybe, I think you're right.
Worth a try. That's it.
Anything else? If there's not, meeting adjourned, see you.